Justin Bieber, girl, I need you to really sit down for this one, because this whole situation, it's messy, it's layered, and honestly, it's giving things were never what they seemed behind the scenes. So listen, this all started blowing up again after 50 Cent decided to finally open his mouth about that weird tension between Usher and Justin Bieber at Beyonce and Jay-Z's Oscars after party. And you already know, when 50 speaks, he doesn't just talk, he drops bombs. So picture this. Justin and Usher, who haven't really been around each other like that in years, suddenly end up in the same room. Not just any room, that room. Beyonce and Jay-Z hosting, elite guest lists, industry power everywhere. And somehow, things go left. Apparently, Usher approaches Justin with this energy that's not friendly, not mentor vibes. Not I'm proud of you, more like tension that's been sitting there for years, finally boiling over. And Justin, he's not backing down anymore. People there said it got heated, like voices raised, real emotion, not just Hollywood, fake arguing. Some even said it almost turned physical, but Usher held back because of the setting. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because insiders are saying Justin doesn't just feel disrespected by Usher, he feels failed by him. And that word, failed, that's heavy. At first, people were like, okay, maybe he means business stuff. Bad deals, money issues, you know how the industry moves. But no, that's not what's being hinted at anymore. Because 50 Cent came in and basically said, this goes way deeper. He straight up suggested that when Usher introduced a young Justin Bieber to Diddy, it wasn't just some innocent mentor connection. He's implying something darker happened during those infamous 48 hours Justin spent under Diddy's care when he was still a teenager. And girl, the way 50 framed it, it sounded like Justin confronting Usher like, why did you let that happen to me? That's not business talk, that's not contracts, that's something else entirely. And suddenly everything starts to feel off. Because think about it. Justin was so young when he got thrown into that world. Overnight fame, no real protection, surrounded by powerful people who already knew how the game works. And 50 has always defended Justin. Always. He's been saying for years that Justin got pulled into something way too big, way too early. So now that he's speaking like this again, people are paying attention. But wait, it doesn't stop there. Because now people are side-eyeing Beyonce and Jay-Z too. Yeah, the Carters. So here's what's being whispered. The guest list at their party, a lot of the same people who used to be deep in Diddy's circle. Same energy, same crowd, same type of environment. And once fans connected that, they started asking questions like, are these parties really that different? Or is it the same system, just with different faces? Because 50 basically hinted that whatever Diddy was doing back then, the culture around it didn't just disappear. It evolved, it moved, it blended into other spaces. And now people are looking at Beyonce and Jay-Z like, are they really as clean as they appear? Or have they just been better at controlling the narrative? And you know what makes this even more uncomfortable? Usher himself. Because his story, it's not clean either. Usher was young when he got pulled into Diddy's world too. Like, really young. Around 13 or 14. And back then, he was sent to what people jokingly called Puffy Flavor Camp. Now, at first, that sounds harmless, like some music mentorship thing. But then you hear stories, little comments, weird interviews, things that don't quite sit right, and suddenly, it doesn't feel harmless anymore. There's even talk that something happened to Usher back then that landed him in a hospital. Nothing fully confirmed, but enough whispers that people are like, okay, something wasn't normal. So now fans are stuck in this weird place. Because on one hand, they're like, maybe Usher was a victim too. Maybe he didn't know how to protect Justin because no one protected him. But on the other hand, they're like, if you knew what that environment was like, why would you ever bring Justin into it? And that's where the real tension is coming from. Because this isn't just about a fight at a party anymore. This is about years of silence, guilt, power, and whatever really happened behind closed doors finally starting to crack open. And Justin, he's not that 3-year-old kid anymore. He's grown now, and it's starting to feel like he remembers everything. And that's the part that really changes the whole energy of this story, because when someone grows up, heals a little, and then starts remembering clearly, that's when things start coming out in a way people can't control anymore. So now everyone's looking back at Justin's behavior over the years a little differently. All those moments where he was acting out, being called difficult, ungrateful, out of control, suddenly people are like, wait, what if that wasn't just fame getting to him? What if that was someone dealing with things he never fully processed? Because one insider literally said Justin feels like he was taken advantage of. And again, that phrase keeps coming up. Not mismanaged, not misguided, taken advantage of. And the way 50 Cent reacted to that, he didn't even hesitate. He basically confirmed that in his opinion, it wasn't just business. He's been saying for a while now that Diddy did something to Justin, and that Justin may not have been the only one. Now, let's pause for a second, because if that's even partially true, then this whole situation between Usher and Justin Bieber isn't just drama. It's confrontation. It's pain meeting the person who was supposed to protect you. And suddenly, that moment at the party makes way more sense. Because imagine carrying something like that for years and then coming face to face with the person tied to it in a room full of the same kind of people who were around back then. That's not just tension. That's history. But here's where it gets even messier. Because Usher himself has said things that don't line up. Like, at one point, he was very clear. He said he would never let his own child go to Diddy's camp. Never. Which already tells you he knew something about that environment wasn't right. But then, fast forward to that interview on Club Shay Shay, and suddenly he's praising Diddy. Calling that time in his life important, saying it helped shape him, helped him understand life and business. And people were like, wait, how do you go from, I wouldn't let my child anywhere near that, to, that was one of the best experiences of my life? That switch, it didn't sit right with anyone. And that's when the speculation started getting darker, because some fans think maybe he's protecting himself. Maybe there are things he can't say. Maybe there are receipts, recordings, something that keeps people quiet. And then you have Diddy's former bodyguard coming out and basically hinting that something serious did happen to Usher back then. Saying there was an incident, saying it led to a hospital visit, saying Usher's own mother knows what really went down. And now it's like, okay, so if Usher went through something like that at a young age, then what kind of position does that put him in later, when he's the one bringing Justin into that same world? Because this is where the conversation splits. Some people feel bad for Usher. They're like, he was a kid too. He didn't have control. He was probably traumatized, confused, maybe even normalized certain things because that's what he grew up around. But others, they're not giving him a pass. They're saying that's exactly why he should have known better. If you experienced something wrong, something uncomfortable, something that left a mark, then why would you ever expose someone else to it? Especially someone younger, especially someone who looked up to you. And that's why people are starting to feel like this situation is deeper than just industry mess. It's starting to feel like a pattern, like young artists being passed around in circles of power where nobody really steps in and everyone kind of plays their role whether they realize it or not. And now with all of this coming back into the spotlight, the attention is shifting again to Beyonce and Jay-Z. Because remember, this all resurfaced at their party. And once people started connecting the dots between the guest list, the history, and the names being mentioned, they started asking a very uncomfortable question. Are these circles really separate, or has it all been one connected system this whole time? And this is where everything starts to feel less like random drama and more like a system that's been running quietly for years. Because once people started connecting all these dots, it wasn't just about Justin Bieber, Usher, or even Diddy anymore. It became about the entire environment they were all moving in. And honestly, that's what makes this uncomfortable, because when you look at it from a distance, it starts to feel like there's this cycle. Young talent comes in, gets surrounded by powerful figures, gets shaped, influenced, and sometimes, according to these claims, exposed to things they shouldn't be anywhere near. And then years later, they either stay quiet, or they start acting out, or they slowly begin to speak. Justin feels like he's somewhere in that last phase now, because even if he hasn't come out and said everything directly, the way people close to him are talking, the way this tension with Usher surfaced, it's giving the feeling that something's been sitting under the surface for a long time. And when it finally came face to face at that party, it cracked. Now, bring 50 Cent back into this, because he's not just commenting for fun. He's been very intentional with what he's been hinting at. He even posted that AI image of Justin confronting Usher, and the caption basically spoke for what a lot of people are thinking but won't say out loud. That question, why did you let that happen to me? It hit people hard because it frames everything differently. It shifts the narrative from gossip to accountability.